let me come directly to our sessions. And I believe this is really going to be the interesting sessions, because we are going to talk to an user of Mark Studio who has been doing it for the last few years. So today with me, uh, Shaliza Mayal from Samagra. And to start with, I just want to give a little bit idea about what Samagra does. Many of us knows people who are associated in the many good governances examples. They definitely must have been in touch with Samagra. But just to start with, Samagra is an consulting organizations who are helping government and many other agencies to transforms people's lives. I can give you a few examples, like how a student can make them more useful in the society, to upskilling, to making their effort and understanding in the right channel. How a housewife can make their life better and make it more meaningful to the society. How a teacher can teach the students, which can be more, more effective, more meaningful, and more enjoyable. And in this effort, a very nice and interesting activity is what Samagra is driving, called Samagra X. I hope I am saying it correctly. Shailiza can correct me. Shailiza is leading that initiatives across the country, and she has been associated with multiple very highest offices in the country, be it in Haryana or in Bangalore. So I will just take a pause. Shailaja, hope I have not uh, uh, misrepresented you. Nice to see you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Palash. Really happy to be here and share my experience with everyone.
Oh, wonderful. And we would love to hear your experience, Shailaja. So I was just looking at your experience and activities across the spectrum. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your sphere of works, how it is touching people's lives?
Yeah, sure. So, Palash, we work across multiple state governments, like you mentioned, and we work across multiple domains as well. So, right from agriculture to healthcare to education. So, we cover a lot of domains, livelihood, service delivery. The larger mission of Samagra is to improve governance, which can eventually improve the life of citizens. So, we only work with government departments. It's a governance consulting firm, and throughout this entire, it's almost been, more than a decade now, and we have worked with states like Haryana, Himachal, Odisha, UP across multiple domains. And giving you a couple of examples of the kind of problem statements that we work on. So, for example, in Himachal, we worked on improving learning level outcomes of students across the state in grade 1 to 8th. So there's a lot of like research that shows that the students in a lot of schools are not at as per their grade level. So the idea there was that how can the government intervene, and what is the kind of strategy that the government should put in place to improve the learning level outcomes of students in Himachal. So essentially, we work on very systemic transformation programs, which is not just like one intervention in particular area. So, for example, one intervention could be, train the teachers so that teachers can teach better. That could be one intervention. But only teacher training cannot really achieve the outcome, because ensuring that students are learning is a combination of multiple things, and also ensuring teachers are able to teach at the level that they are at also ensures a lot of administrative things in place. So we have, we had academic institutions, academic, interventions like improving the curriculum. And we've also had administrative interventions like teacher transfer policy. Like, how do you ensure that teachers are happy with where they are? because there's a lot of it's not a very transparent system how transfers happen. So these are the kind of things that we work on. In Odisha, we are working on improving farmers' income. So there is like a proper goal to it that this is the current average income of farmers in Odisha, and we want to improve that income by so and so number. So these are the kind of problem statements that we work with, where there is a very direct linkage to an outcome that is impacting the lives in India.
Oh, wonderful. So basically, what I understand in multiple ways, whatever you people do is touching people's life and changing their lives for the better. Uh, I'm very very curious. In your entire activities, you are taking verifiable credentials, uh, and I would love to understand a little more how it is getting used and why
Mm.
it is getting used. If you can
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about around that.
Sure, sure. So I can also cover a little bit about how we work. So we essentially focus a lot on data, a lot on essentially generating transparency, because the moment you have transparency and you know that this data is the right data, the quality of data is high, you can take decisions on those data points. But the moment the quality of the data is compromised, or I as an official don't believe that this data has been collected in an unbiased manner, I don't want to then take decisions at a policy level on that data. So giving you an example that in Haryana we managed to essentially bring all the schemes and services on one platform, and it was an end to end till the beneficiary level, the tracking used to happen. So at the state level, there was a very clear monitoring system that could see that how many applications are pending at what level. So how many applications are pending with, say, education department, how many are pending with health department. So at the state level, that review was easy to do, but that was only when you can trust that data. Because if that system is not trustworthy, if it is easy to tamper with that system, then it's very difficult to actually take decisions also on that system. Hence, verifiable credentials is like a very, I would say, a good sort of adoption that's happening by the government as well. It's not just us using it, because we very closely work with the government. So you would see how the government is using this concept in the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, where they are preparing registries of healthcare providers, of doctors. And Sankarshan also mentioned before that, right? So many frauds are happening. I don't know whether this doctor is actually a doctor. So, you can just fake it. So all of these interventions are happening at the national level as well, where these registries are being prepared. One of the interventions that we were working on was Universal Learners Passbook. In UP, we had done certain pilots with the government there, where the idea was that a student has all the entire journey of the student is documented, and it's kind of available in a wallet. Very similar to how DigiLocker is, right, for us. And that is something that you could trust, that if a student is moving from one school to the other, all the transfer certificates, all the mark sheets are available, and it is a trusted, verifiable credential. So all of those information is available. If I move to the college, then that information is also available. If I move to an ITI, that information is also available, and then I can choose to share. If I'm a student, I can choose to share this information with my employers. A very very similar example that Sankarshan showed before, I think 2 3 slides back, is what now the national government also wants to do with the APAR ID, where every student has this APAR ID, where registries are created, and data can be maintained, and these records can be trusted. So these are a few examples where we have used, or we have seen verifiable credentialing being used.
Wonderful, wonderful information, Shailiza. So what I understood from you, you were using this verifiable credential as a concept to get more transparency in the system, to understand, yes, the authenticity, the verification part, and the provenance part are absolutely taken care of.
Yeah.
And once it is done, it is very difficult to tamper. So tamper resistance. These are the highlights, I believe, if I understand from you, these are the things you were looking at. So while you
Yeah.
were looking at all those important aspect of the verifiable credentials and want to kind of instill into the system, in your view, why Mark Studio you were
Mm.
relying on? And
Yeah.
being a person from Dhiway, I would
Mm.
also love to learn how users seeing it from their point of view.
Yeah, yeah. So no, definitely that's a very good question. And so we are using Mark Studio in one of our programs called the Code for GovTech initiative, where essentially we work with different developers on certain open source projects, and it's essentially, while the developers complete those projects, they get a certificate. So that certification is something that we are doing through Mark Studio. And for us it has been very easy to actually build up the system, otherwise we'll have to build something from scratch, right? So it's a good platform for us to build those registries and to kind of issue verifiable credentials within like a day or so. That's the time that it took us. So the user centricity and also just the use case that it helps us enable, that was really helpful in our situation. Otherwise we would have to build everything from scratch. So it does like most of the work for you. You just need to have the data and you can issue out the credentials. And it also keeps the credentials for a really long time, so we don't have to worry about movement of records, data happening here and there. So it's a good way of essentially keeping records at a place, and you don't have to set up a lot of system at your own level.
So if I understand it, it is you are saying it is very useful, easy to use kind of tool. It gives you a lot of kind of comfort, eliminating multiple disconnected systems, right? And
Yeah.
help you to get a comprehensive view very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Shaliza, while this technology is all fine, and uh, who else, other than you, can and tell us how technology is using for the betterment, and you are giving some few such examples. Can you give
Mm.
us such real life examples around how this Mark Studio verifiable credentials are impacting people's life? Do you have any story in mind presently, if it is
Mm.
handy?
Yeah. So, one of the programs that I lead, which is Code for GovTech. So there we give certificates to essentially all the developers, and they are like students or young professionals who are looking to build your resume, who are looking to learn, but who are also looking to have like a in a way a credit attached to the projects that they are doing and in a reliable form or so. So we've been issuing verifiable credentials to them since 2022, since we started working on this program. So it's like a summer internship program. At the end of summer internship, they get the certificates. And last year, because of some delays, we were not able to issue the credentials on time. We just gave them the digital certificates, and it did not have a QR code. It did not have like a verifiable credential. And we got requests from so many of those developers that where are we going to get the VC enabled certificates? So they're like, this is not something that we can take. When will you give us a VC enabled? And we got like a lot of follow ups from students, from young professionals, because it's also not fair, right? If you're not giving them the credentials that they deserve, we can just give them a piece of paper, and who is going to verify it in the future, right? I don't know, where am I going to be, where am my team going to be? We don't know them personally. Also, there are hundreds of people. So hence that was sort of also a learning for us, that at least the younger generation, they are very aware. They know that these certificates don't matter. We need the certificate which is easily verifiable. All of these PDFs and all are not going to make sense for us. So I think the demand coming from the users itself, that was really good to see. That we are in this world where people know that, okay, you need a specific kind of credential, only then it makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that is a very interesting story, and I actually that gives me a kind of memory of some of the news we have recently read in the newspaper. I remember the law students are really struggling to kind of get a registration in the Bar Council of Karnataka, because a lot of fake certificate got identified, and most of the fake certificates was from outside of the states. So they decided not to allow any students out of the out of these states. So it gives a kind of a fear in people's mind who are really having a valid certificate but
Yeah.
not verifiable. The way your students, the way your professionals are feeling, I believe that the fear is really getting instilled in the society. And here is the time, I hope, uh, the way you are articulating, the way you are explaining the importance of this verifiable credentials across the country, across the world, the educational institutes, the academia are also listening, and they are listening their students' agony, the way genuine UPSC candidates are getting, the purpose got completely defeated when a genuine person got rejected because of some fake people are coming and entering into the systems, right? So
Yeah.
there are several such examples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also because there is so much, it's very dynamic, the world, right? In the olden times, it was very limited. So you are studying in a city, in a town, you're working there, everybody knows you. There is this whole social relationship that you have there, social credibility, social trust, which is very difficult to maintain now in a very dynamic society where I'm moving from one place to the other, and changing schools, changing colleges, changing jobs. Very difficult to verify the information.
Wonderful. So I am going back to once again your organizations, and you're really representing a very exciting organizations. So what are the some of the game changer you are actually working on, and which are going to create an impact on the society? Uh, if you
So,
have no, I'm not sure. Sometimes it is under the NDA, but if you can share some of this interesting thing, that would be lovely to know.
yeah, no, I can definitely share that, and that also has like an angle of all of these digital public goods, right? That we are focusing on. The government is also focusing on, including the VC credentialing. So, one of the things that we have recently, but not recently, it's been a year, more than a year, we have forayed into is the judiciary system. So, we are working as part of a collective called Pukar, which is helping reimagine the justice system. So till now, we've been working with the executive pillar in our democracy, but now we have forayed into judiciary, where we are working with one of the high courts in Kerala and setting up a new court. How you would imagine a court process is running in one of the courts, and we have taken one case type. So one of the case types which has a lot of pendencies is the check bounce case. So we have taken the check bounce case, and we, as part of the collective with three other organizations, we are working, we have reimagined the entire process. In fact, it is also live in the court. So all the cases are now getting processed online, and a lot of redundancies where the lawyers or the essentially people who are filing the courts, they had to come to the court physically. They can do a lot of things online now. So the entire reimagination of the process is happening. So we are very hopeful that that sort of takes off. There is a positive feedback from there, and we can then slowly move to other case types, other states, and try to change a little bit of the judiciary system that we have right now.
Thank you, Shaliza. Wonderful. You are in the fag end of our scheduled time. I hope the
Sure.
pukar you are making using your organization's platform is reaching to the world of, across the world, the academia and the institute of different capacities. People are listening that, and the life of the students, the life of the professionals will be much more easy with the verifiable credentials in the coming year. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Shaliza.
Thank you. Thank you so much.